What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and tonight we're going to be talking about something you may have missed about the recent update, some huge implications for the Black Ops story going forward, and even more. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, drop a like, and make sure your notifications on to stay up to date with everything going on in Cold War Year 2, Warzone, Modern Warfare 2, and any other future Call of Duty as well. Took a minor break this past weekend to kind of rejuvenate my energy and plan out some better content for this upcoming week. I had some videos planned out, which I'll repurpose for maybe some content I post tomorrow and Wednesday, but I am aware there is a big zombie rumor going on, which I will address in a separate video. You know, I saw the rumor and I'm like, I don't think that's exactly the case. People out there really jumped the gun on that rumor and started making hella videos about it. You guys probably know what I'm talking about, but we'll talk more about that in a separate video that I have planned. It'll probably end up going up tomorrow. But in the background, enjoy some Victory Royale gameplay here on Rebirth Reinforced with the lad Fajardi, who went off in his gameplay and did our absolute best against some of the Giga Chads that were slide canceling and bunny hopping all around this map. Now, as you guys may have missed earlier today, it was confirmed that from March 30th to April 13th, you can try out Vanguard multiplayer for free, including 2 Season 2 maps, a new objective mode, and a featured playlist offering a variety of the most popular maps in the game. No, this does not include zombies, and it's essentially a limited, watered-down version of some free access multiplayer period, which is cool for those out there that may not have picked up Vanguard, might be interested in trying it for free, but you can kind of tell where we're at right now in Vanguard's life cycle since they're already doing free trials like this. I think this originally was just going to be free access to Arms Race, but it got changed to more of a multiplayer-centric free access week, which I guess is fine. I mean, the more the merrier when it comes to free events, but let me know how you're feeling about that down below in the comments. I'm still really curious just how long Vanguard's life cycle is going to last. Will it be the full 6 seasons? I mean, based on how Season 1 and 2 were both 70 days, I'm assuming either the next 4 seasons have to be shorter, or they're just going to end up doing 70-day seasons for each one and end at like Season 4 or 5. I'm just not sure, but it all depends on when Modern Warfare 2 wants to come out. Now, as you guys may have also missed, in Rebirth Reinforced, one of the community challenges was actually completed, which was to get 20 billion kills, and upon doing that, which we did, we've now unlocked the weapon trade system, and to me this is such a fantastic feature that will 100% change the way Warzone is played moving forward, and I'm assuming this will also be added into Warzone 2 eventually. Kind of resembles just how cool the blackjack stashes were back during Blackout, but for this allows you to trade in any weapon that you have, and obviously the higher the rarity weapon that you trade into this system, the better loot you'll get in return, whether it's armor satchels, gas masks, UAVs, money. I even heard rumors about specialist bonus being given out. I mean, if you give in your loadout weapon, you'll probably get some of the best rewards back, but it could also be a bit of RNG. There might not be too much consistency with this, but take advantage of this while you can. I mean, I don't know how many times I've died in matches of Warzone because I just couldn't find the right loot that I needed, whether it's an armor satchel, whether it's a gas mask, like I said, or just any other essential item that can really make or break your final circle in a game of Battle Royale. So I'm super happy with this feature, and obviously when it comes to the rest of the community challenges, our next one is to trade 190 million weapons here at our trade stations, and once you do that, we'll unlock communication towers, allowing you to buy, I think it's single ping, single swipe UAVs for 1,500, which is kind of cool. Can't complain about that one either, but notice how these community challenges are in order, so we can't do the next one before doing the last. So that's the way they've structured this, and after that we of course have getting a combined 130 million payloads on Rebirth, and that'll unlock armor truck deployment public events, and then the last one's going to be to spend the combined, or I'm sorry, gather a combined $40 trillion in Warzone Rebirth blood money, and that'll unlock the golden vaults, which are the secret gold bunkers all around the map. So I'm really happy with these community challenges. I did a full video, what was it, a good week ago, showing you just all the Easter eggs and unlocks that are available right now in Rebirth, and we touched a bit more on just my opinion on these community events, because I think it's cool when we have the in-game challenges you can do to unlock a bunch of free cosmetics, a free blueprint, and I like keeping that separate from these community challenges, which is what they did with this event for the most part, but it was a bit weird on day one of the event when you can only really do one challenge in game, which was to get, I think, 3 wipes in solo resurgence, but we talk more about that in the separate video, of course. Now, I also want to address real quickly something that just dropped from Raven. A number of perks have been seriously updated for Warzone. Gameplay adjustments to Scavenger, Restock, EOD, Quick Fix, and even Ghost. So the Season 2 Reloaded patch notes have been amended. I'll have that link down below in the description. description, of course, and I do appreciate the perk changes, right? I mean, this is all in preparation for Warzone 2, of course. I think if everything gets ironed out and everything's in a good place in the next couple of months for Warzone 1, then I don't see any reason why Warzone 2 is going to release with a number of issues. We don't even know when that's releasing. Could be this fall with Modern Warfare 2, could be in March, the anniversary, or the 3-year anniversary of Warzone. It's up in the air right now. But obviously, Modern Warfare 2 won't have everything from Modern Warfare 1 or Warzone 1, but I'm assuming a lot will be transferred over. A lot will be kind of restructured and repurposed for the sequel, but it'll still feel like a relatively similar game. But the thing is, Warzone 2 will run on its own application this time around, which is great, so they're not limited from adding in as many maps as they want, doing some crazy changes that don't break other parts of the base game. So in this case, Warzone 1 significantly breaks Modern Warfare. It even affected Cold War and Vanguard. I mean, it's crazy just what's been going on with these integrations over the last year or so. But now when it comes to the meat and potatoes of this video, I saw a fantastic Reddit post, and I know that sounds shocking, but a fantastic Reddit post from Heavy Duty 35. It's actually in the Black Ops Cold War subreddit, which is crazy, and I don't go on Reddit too often. You know, whenever I do, if I see a great thread like this, I'll gladly cover it in a video. But this is what Rebirth Reinforced means for the Call of Duty universe. So it's a bit of a slideshow here. So the first thing here is that Rebirth Reinforced and the future of Perseus. Warzone's first rendition of Rebirth Island served as a recreation of the raid on the Nova 6 facility, during which Adler took Stitch's eye prior to the events of Black Ops Cold War. We see a glimpse of this flashback in the Season 1 intro cinematic for Black Ops Cold War, and that was obviously a really powerful cutscene introducing us to the main villain of the post-launch story, which is Stitch. Now it then says Stitch never restarted the production of Nova 6 during the events of Black Ops Cold War. It was all a ruse to draw out and capture Russell Adler, and we obviously learned that throughout the first couple of seasons, cinematic cutscenes where Nova 6 is everywhere. Adler's like, oh, we found the Nova 6, and all of a sudden it was just a big ploy to bait Adler and his crew out. Stitch took him hostage, and the rest is history. So that's an important thread to remember. As such, there has never been a Rebirth Island mode set during the events of Black Ops Cold War, and that's the confusing part, right? Because the Season 1 intro cinematic gives us a glimpse of Rebirth during the Cold War era, and obviously shows us the flashback with Adler and Stitch, but we don't actually play in the Cold War when we hopped onto Rebirth Island, at least not during the Cold War life cycle that was. And I think that was always something confusing. You had to pay attention to the bottom left corner whenever you boot into a match of Rebirth, and it would tell you that Rebirth took place in present day near Modern Warfare. And that tied into the fact that in the Season 6 outro for Modern Warfare's life cycle, Soap was coming from Rebirth in present day. So what was that, 2020, 2021? So that was always our confirmation that we were never playing on an old version of Rebirth, but obviously in a non-canon way, we were still playing as Cold War operators if you wanted to on Rebirth Island. So I know it gets confusing with the canon because of what character you play as, but that really doesn't matter. Now it then says, following the destruction of Verdansk, we were introduced to the 2021 version of Rebirth. The construction had been completed and the command center was revealed. So I'm gonna safely assume that that just got constructed after Verdansk got destroyed, and the Rebirth we played before Verdansk got destroyed was still in 2020, but it just didn't feature some of those new points of interest. But in the canon, they built those shortly after. Now, if you ask yourself, what is the significance of Rebirth Reinforced, along with the now completed command center pointing towards the present day, the introductory mission log states that the year is 2022. I touched on this a little bit in my previous video when Rebirth Reinforced came out. I'm like, wait a second, we were all expecting this map to take place maybe after that cutscene between Mason and his crew and Butcher in 1984, but that isn't the case. This is present day. We're talking Modern Warfare times here. So this person then wrote, Perseus has reclaimed the Rebirth Island, and this time the Nova 6 threat will not be a ruse. The shadowy network no longer appears to operate from the shadows because clearly they're marketing their flag everywhere around the map, right? Perseus is alive and well in present day, which is going to lead to a really major plot point that we're going to talk about in a minute. But it then says Perseus has the Nova 6 factory up and running. The facility is evacuated at the beginning of each match, and helicopters can be seen airlifting cargo containers full of Nova 6 gas containers. Perseus has seemingly been reshaped with a focus on the development of chemical weapons. Lastly, Perseus' renovation and reinforcement of Rebirth, an ongoing process represented by the community challenges, is referred to within the spy ring as Project Nova 6, aptly named after the chemical weapon. So what this means for the future of Call of Duty is a number of things. I mean, first, they wrote here Modern Warfare 2 Electric Boogaloo. Now that Perseus is active once again and has restarted the production of Nova 6, I would not be surprised to see evidence of the organization's 2's existence in the second Modern Warfare. Perhaps Barkov's gas will be retconned and rewritten as Nova 6 from the Modern Warfare story. The ending of the Black Ops Cold War campaign and Season 6 left the future of Perseus, and even Stitch of course, up in the air. So then we're like, okay, what about a second Cold War game, a sequel to Black Ops Cold War? Where would that work? A reimagining of Black Ops 2 would be feasible as a direct sequel to Black Ops Cold War, and could even retcon events of the original Black Ops 2, sure. The two-era storytelling of Black Ops 2 would be perfect for bridging the gap between the Black Ops 1's 1980s and the Modern Warfare's 2020s, both of which are apparently periods during which Perseus is active. Now that we are closer to that time, this would be the perfect opportunity to revisit the Black Ops 2 2025 setting with a more realistic look at near-future military technology, and it leaves us off with, regardless of what the future holds, the Perseus threat is here to stay. Now, I also think a big reveal is going to happen, maybe even in the Season 3 intro cutscene really soon, where we follow up on that conversation between Mason and his crew and the Butcher. I know that conversation is going somewhere, and I think it could even be something as cool as Butcher saying, oh yeah, you know that fella Reznov, I met him back during World War II, you know he's still alive, right? And he's here and here, we're gonna go there now. Mason would be like, what? I mean, imagine a plot twist that fucking cool for the Call of Duty canon, but something that doesn't ruin the impact that Black Ops 1 had. However, I think there will be some really serious implications of that conversation between Mason, his crew, and the Butcher that can impact the story of the next Black Ops game, or maybe even the next 3 seasons of Vanguard, if those even happen. I'm really curious to know what's going to end up happening with that, but maybe something similar to the reveal we got for the individual who we thought was Perseus alone, but ended up being a group, obviously. But that individual that we see in the Cold War campaign, he ended up dying off screen from cancer. Stitch reveals that to Adler, so I'm expecting a reveal similar to that, where Butcher tells something to Mason and his crew that will lead to a very cool moment in a future season coming up. Now, let's break this up a little bit, right? Starting off with Modern Warfare 2. I mean, I'm not complaining about more Black Ops connections in a Modern Warfare game. I mean, we got quite a few Modern Warfare connections in the Cold War campaign alone, and Vanguard's tying into all of this too, so I think it's up to the second Modern Warfare game to really solidify the fact that everything is crossed over in one timeline. We know that's already the case, but so far not much is known about the second Modern Warfare game, other than we'll be dealing with Colombian drug cartels. It'll apparently be a really emotional story, and I mean, we have the scooper Ralph's Valve claiming there won't be a next game after this. There won't be a Modern Warfare 3. Apparently Modern Warfare 2's ending feels definitive, but the reason I question that is because if the game's gonna have 12 seasons of content, clearly they have to have an extra story lined up to last all that time for roughly 2 years. So I think a Modern Warfare 3, so to speak, will kind of be covered in the 12 seasons of post-launch story we're about to get for that game. But in that time, I don't think we're gonna deal with the Perseus threat. There could be references to the group itself. I don't think we're gonna take care of them and take them down in a Modern Warfare game. That's probably better saved for a Black Ops sequel. But I'm interested in this, and I'm curious because Activision clearly is throwing it in our face that Perseus is still alive and well during the Modern Warfare era, not even 1984 or the early 2000s. This is 2022. So this is already tying into older versions of what could be Mason, Adler Woods, Task Force 141, even David Mason. That gets me thinking, right? What will happen in the second Black Ops game? Or I'm sorry, the sequel to Black Ops Cold War? Because what they could do is retcon Black Ops 2 completely, tell a new story in the future, but that's the confusing part, right? Because Cold War throws so many hints at us that Black Ops 2 is still canon and it's about to happen. Treyarch's website lists all of their Black Ops games as canon, and the thing is, I mean, if they end up retconning Black Ops 2 events completely, then I'm okay with that, but at the same time, I mean, I guess you could say they pulled a Halloween where all the sequels were scrapped, but they kept the first one as canon and then built from there. Maybe that's really what happened. But I certainly think there is potential to tell a story after the events of the Black Ops 2 campaign, still in the future, where Alex meets David. Maybe they can follow up with an older Adler, Stitch reappears somewhere, or they figure out a new Perseus threat in the future. We know Menendez has several connections to Stitch and Perseus, so maybe that's what they can build on for the sequel. But yeah, I mean, the canon ending of Black Ops 2 is where Menendez doesn't die, so there is potential to kind of bring him back and introduce him into a new story after Black Ops 2's campaign. There's a lot of possibilities with how they can take this, but I'm really curious as to when we're going to deal with Perseus again in a campaign. It probably won't be for another couple of years. Now, I saw some really cool mentions on this Reddit post that Makrov could be a part of the Perseus inner circle. We know Menendez's cartel already was, and there's quite a few other terrorist groups that Modern Warfare 2 is bound to cover that could have some deep ties to the Russians here. Now, it's also worth remembering that if Modern Warfare 2 is going to be dealing with cartels, then yeah, if the game takes place in 2022, 2023, they're bound to run into Menendez's cartel, right? Or some faction of it. So I would be absolutely shocked if they don't even address or hint at some Black Ops connections in a second Modern Warfare game. We know the narrative directors and quite a few people at Infinity Ward left after MW 2019. So I'm wondering if they left because they wanted to tell a standalone story, but Activision's like, nah, you gotta cross over with Black Ops. You gotta do this, you gotta do that. And then they had creative differences, stepped away. I'm wondering if that's what happened. And now the new people that have stepped in to write that game and to get it done are gonna be fully incorporating all these connections that we're theorizing right now with Perseus. Now, as you guys can probably tell, I'm really interested in the Call of Duty lore, and I just love story altogether. I always have, whether it's campaign, multiplayer, zombies, I'm all for it, and crossing all these plots over and all these characters over has me really intrigued for the future of the Call of Duty canon. But the last thing I want to leave off with is a bit off topic from Perseus, but something that just came up. Charlie Intel reported that a new Activision job listing says that 2022 is a stellar opportunity with lineup of new innovations in curated player experiences, multi-platform gameplay, subscription-based content, mobile game development, and a move to always-on community and player connectivity, which they're calling Call of Duty 2.0. Now, it's really interesting to think about what that could mean, but I think what comes to mind first is that Warzone Mobile is obviously happening, which might actually shun out COD Mobile a little bit, which I still feel weird about. We also, of course, have that free-to-play Call of Duty that's rumored from Sledgehammer with building, Standalone Zombies project that's rumored, and we even have that Call of Duty hub-type experience that several gaming scoopers have reported on, in which it'll be like Disney Plus, where you click on this one app and everything you need will be there in one place. So in Call of Duty's case, you'll see all the current and active Call of Duties being updated. You'll see probably some bonuses, DLC, even trailers for the next one, all within that one application, which I talked about in a separate video not too long ago. But I think that all fits into the category of Call of Duty 2.0, shaping the future of the franchise, and surprisingly doing so before the Microsoft acquisition, because once they take charge, who knows what's going to get scrapped, what's going to get repurposed, what's going to get canceled, what's going to get shuffled around, because whatever Activision has planned now essentially has to happen in the next year, or else it probably won't. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the recent updates to Warzone and Rebirth Reinforced? How are you feeling about the major implications with Perseus? And also, what are you thinking about Call of Duty 2.0, as Activision calls it? Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.